Денеска заедно со нас во телевизијата, универзитетската телевизија е Миранда Спивак, новинар и уредник во Вашингтон Пост, моментално и професор на универзитет во Индијана, во Соединетите Американски држави. Таа беше гостин на Универзитетот Гоце Делчев. Ние имаме честа да разговараме со неа на многу теми поврзани со новинарството. Miranda, welcome to our television.
Thank you very much.
We're going to talk about a lot of stuff related with journalism and your stay here in Macedonia.
Okay.
First of all, briefly, why are you in Macedonia?
Why am I in Macedonia? It's a very good question. I wanted to teach abroad, and I got very interested in Macedonia. I had to actually apply in 2017, so that's right around the time that there was a lot of political transition here. And I'm very interested in two big issues. One is developing a free press, and the other is the rule of law and trying to make it work in not just in Macedonia, everywhere. I mean, those are issues that I write about. So Macedonia seemed to me to be at a very interesting point in its history, and I thought for me as a journalist, it would be a very interesting place to come and sort of watch democracy grow up.
You held a lecture with the students from the journalism department here at the university. So what were you talking about, and what do you think about the students and the journalism?
I think students everywhere in this country, including here in Štip, are very thoughtful. I think they're very curious. I think they're very worried. And so I've heard the same kind of questions over and over again. So what we talked about today was how to do some investigative journalism to look into some of the things that are worrying them, such as the bad economy that they think may prevent them from getting good jobs when they graduate, or the quality of health care, or the air pollution, or the proliferation of trash in Macedonia. So we talked about all of those kinds of issues. How would you go about doing a report on that, and who, what kind of data would you get at, who would you interview, that kind of thing.
Most of the time you've talked about investigative journalism also. So what are you going to share with the young people maybe that are watching us now? Washington Post peaked at the top maybe in the 70s with the Watergate affair. So do you think that individuals can make a change in the journalism?
I do. I think individuals can make a change both in their communities, whether they are journalists or not. They can be sources for journalists when they see that something is going wrong that needs to be fixed. So just people in civic life can make a difference by supporting independent journalistic enterprises. And there are some of those here in Macedonia that I've seen so far. And individual journalists can make a difference because public exposure of wrongdoing can often lead to change. And I think that's been true all over the Balkans, actually, and in many parts of the world. When journalists get involved and write about something that is wrong and tell people that it's wrong, it helps generate public opinion to make change.
Can you tell us about the newspapers, the conditions of newspapers in the United States? So there were information that there was a drop in the sales of the newspapers in the United States, but nowadays they are becoming popular again.
Well, I think the challenge for all newspapers, and it will eventually become a challenge here, I think, as as people's reading habits change. But, the internet is a great thing, and it's also hurt print journalism a lot. And so American newspapers have had to learn to adjust and to try to put their content online and be more appealing to readers. Everybody in the world has a smartphone now of some sort and are getting a lot of information on their phones. So how do we reach people on their phones? And I think that is still a challenge for journalists. I think that actually technologically they sort of haven't caught up even in the United States. I mean, if you look at the Washington Post website, then look at the New York Times website. And the New York Times website has all the bells and whistles. It's got a lot of good video. It's got a lot of good graphics. It moves its stories in a very interesting way. Its photos are really great. And the Washington Post, where I worked for many, many years, and that I'm very grateful to for having had a great career there, but their website is it's not as technologically proficient, and therefore it's harder to reach readers. I think all U.S. print newspapers have got to catch up quickly to what is the best way to reach readers, and right now that's on the phones, on the web, whatever.
I think Washington Post it publishes every day, but on Sunday they have a special edition.
Same with the New York Times. Most American newspapers.
What is the special edition about?
Well, Sunday is sort of the day where you think you can actually capture readers because they have a little more leisure time. They're not usually working, and they. So the Sunday newspaper in print and online is much fatter. There are many more stories. The stories are longer. They cover a much greater variety of topics. I think that actually the daily newspapers in print in some cities in the United States have stopped printing every day. They're online every day. New Orleans, some other cities, they're down to printing 2 or 3 days a week. That could be the wave of the future. I don't know. I love reading print because the serendipity of turning the page, you never know what you're going to get. I don't get that online, frankly. So I'm still an avid print reader, but I'm a dinosaur.
Yeah. Investigative journalism, especially in Macedonia, is more like a myth. So most of the young journalists, they dream to become stars overnight.
Right.
Yeah. What would you recommend to them?
Well, I think that investigative journalism is very, very important here, especially now as you're working hard to build all the democratic institutions like honest courts, honest judiciary, honest prosecutors, honest parliament. And you need journalists to be the eyes and the ears of the public because people go to work every day. They can't go listen to parliament every day or hear the live stream or whatever. So journalists really play a very important role in any country, but I think in particular in Macedonia right now, they can play a very critical role in making sure that government is accountable to the people.
So you can make to make an investigative story, you probably need some resources or money. Sometimes you cannot make a good quality investigative story without money. Do you think that it's possible to make quality investigative stories without fundings?
Well, look, everybody wants to be paid, and no profession works for free. So all these people who go on the internet and think I should give them my content for free, I don't know why. Because if I go to a store, I have to pay for something. If I go to a lawyer, I have to pay. But for some reason, there's this crazy idea now that journalism should be free. I think that you can certainly do an investigation without a lot of resources, and many people do, and that's fine. And that is if you have good sources, i.e. human sources who are reliable and can tell you where to go to get information. Macedonia actually has a lot of information online, interestingly enough. If people know where to look on government websites, there's a lot of data there. Is that data good? I don't know. You'll have to check it out. But it's certainly a place to start. But I think people should be willing to pay for good journalism. And so I think that the long term here is that you need to go to a model where you have memberships like we do in public radio and public TV in the United States. It's not mandatory, but I give a donation. I'm a member. I think that independent journalists here may need to move to that model. I'm not an expert on it, but that's the only thing I can see because you can't sustain it forever with donors.
If you're a journalist in Washington Post, do you have any golden rule that you have to obey to?
Many. Yeah, I mean, I can't, at least when I went to work at the Post, somebody couldn't buy you a drink. They couldn't buy you lunch. You needed to disclose any kind of stock holdings that might be a conflict, and therefore you shouldn't write about something if you have an interest in it. There's an interesting issue. I mean, I have children, they went to public school. I didn't really write about the public schools, but I think I could have as long as I didn't write about my kids' school. But you have to watch out for conflicts of interest all the time in journalism, and journalists here really need to be conscious of that.
Can you share your opinion online? If you're a journalist?
I don't. Almost never. I mean, I'm active on Twitter, but usually I'm posting my own stories or I'm posting somebody else's story that I thought was interesting. I do not share my opinions online, and journalists who do, I think, do it at their peril.
Mm-hmm. So what is the main message that you want to share with the students here in Macedonia, with the students in journalism?
I think journalism is very, very important here in Macedonia, and I know that people are worried because right now it doesn't pay very well, and so if you studied law and wanted to be a journalist, you probably can make more money being a lawyer here. But I think that if you can get in to one of these good independent news organizations, I think there is opportunity for growth and to have an impact and to make a difference in your country.
Thank you for the interview.
You're welcome.